Hello, I'm Pat Conway with Vibe Coding University, training humans to train themselves. And today, what we want to talk about is why. Why would anyone want to develop a growth machine, a growth attribute in themselves? Uh, why? So that's what our goal. We'd like to encourage you to do it, but why would we? Why? Okay. So I mean, you presently, what we do is we set a goal and we go for it now. We it's like, go for it, yeah. And what we're suggesting to you is that maybe you should slow down a little bit and first develop this new way of training yourself. That is, learning to train yourself without force. In order to start to train yourself and find things, go through the 5 steps that we talked about. We'll review them again here. Okay, why would you want to do that? Why would anyone want to? You've got something already. You are who you are. Why not just use what you got and go for it and force yourself to do things? Okay, and then you'll get things, right? Okay, why would anyone want to build themselves to become a whole new person? To become maybe not a whole new person, but new attributes about yourself, so that things just naturally come to you. Why would you want to build something that really works as opposed to something you can force to sort of work? Okay, and most importantly, why would you want to do? Because if you go for it with the machine you got, you know what to expect. You sort of already have figured out how to deal with your little disappointments here and there and stuff like that. And if you develop, who knows what's going to happen? I mean, it's sort of an uncertainty. What's going to really work? What's really going to go on, and how it's all going to work for you? Okay, why would you take that chance? Well, I'm hoping that you start thinking about, I really would like to develop this growth machine. And I want you to start thinking of it as sort of almost like a little golden goose, okay, that keeps laying those golden eggs in order to keep developing yourself into a better and better replica of yourself, shall we say, so that you become greater and greater until finally you become the person you really were meant to be. And that's the goal. That's the goal here. We want to get you to that. But let me just look at it real quickly here. You've tried things before. How is this going to be different? Okay? You've failed, and you know what it feels like to fail. Do you really want to go through the chance of failing again? Right? In other words, we're asking you to develop this new growth machine that you go, well, is it going to work for me? I've tried other things. They didn't work for me. How is this any different? Okay? So the question is, why? Okay, so here we go. Here's the options. You have this machine that you presently have that has, all the limits that it has, and yes, we are limited. Okay, unless we grow and develop ourselves. And as we grow and develop ourselves, we remove those limits that once existed, and now we have developed a machine that can do those things we couldn't do before. And if we keep setting goals and things of this nature and after we set the goal, we say, well, who's the person that can become it, and develop ourselves into that person, we can keep removing those limits, one after the other after the other. Okay. Now, to give you a sense of that a little bit, we already sort of do that, and I want you to realize that yes, we do grow ourselves, but it's usually more through someone else trains us outside of us, and we follow that lead. And if you look at yourself when you see little kids that get hurt, or teenagers that are upset about things, and you've, shall we say, grown past that, and you understand how it works and how to get by them or how to work with them better and better, and we look at it and we go, wow, I actually have grown to become a better person than I was before. I've learned to handle that. I've learned to be successful in those situations. So we have a sense of what that's like. Now, the only sense is that, are we really done? Can we grow so that those other things that we want can also be possible? If you're, this year I'm going to set out my goal to become that supermodel or whatever, thin, trim, fit, yeah. And I'm suggesting that you slow it down a bit and first develop this golden goose, this little growth machine, by taking on maybe some smaller projects to first get it to work and to figure out how it works for you. Okay? Or I'm going to become a millionaire this year, or I'm going to, set up my business this year and it's going to go gangbusters, or I'm going to take my business to a new level. And you go, yeah, sure. Okay, you could do that. Okay? And you could use the machine you have and force it to do things it doesn't need to do, or you could develop a growth machine and start developing yourself so that you become a person who can handle and grow yourself to new levels, and you just naturally accomplish those goals where you don't have to force yourself. It's just natural. Don't you hate those people who are just naturally good at something? Wouldn't you like to be one of those people just naturally good at it, who grew and developed themselves so that it just naturally happened for them? Okay? And I'm not talking about the superficial, where, okay, I'm, got good looks or this special whatever physical attribute or something. I'm talking about things that, those deeper things that really count in life, things that really work in life for your family, for your business, for every aspect of life that you can almost think of. Okay? So I want to go through the 5 steps real quick and just understand that, if you decide to develop this, there's going to be some challenges, okay? And these challenges are simply that, society doesn't recommend them. Society says you've got this machine, force it to do things to get the best, as much as you can out of life. I mean, you're doing the best you can. I mean, what can you accomplish with that stupid machine you got? Okay? Or should you decide to grow and develop yourself so that you become a more, I don't want to say greater person, but a person who can accomplish more things that are important to you, and you become the person you want to be. You become the person who just naturally can accomplish your goals and dreams. Okay, by growing and developing yourself, and you become a person that you're really proud of. Now, one of the first, there's 5 steps. First one is knowledge, right? Right? Did you read a book last year? Did you study stuff? Did you figure stuff out? Did you figure out how it worked for you? Did you take one of them and really work on it hard? Okay, all right. Most of us haven't. We sort of got kicked out of college or wherever we got kicked out of, medical school, high school or whatever we got kicked out of, our last job, and they said, well, that's who you are. And you're stuck. Do the best you can with what you got. And I'm saying, let's not stop there. Let's keep developing ourselves so that we can accomplish more and more and make the world a better and better place. So step number 1 is knowledge. Okay? It's like getting in there, observing stuff, reading books, admitting that that maybe things have changed and people have understood things a little better. Maybe you were wrong and really you don't understand things completely as they used to, and there's new insight that allows you to see things a little bit better. Maybe there's something new out there. Maybe the world isn't all known and understood. Maybe there's more and more to be understood. Okay, so knowledge. Okay, so first thing, you got to get into knowledge. You got to set that goal and then sort of say, well, maybe I need to investigate this, explore it a little bit. Now, maybe in addition to that, you need to learn to read better. You need to learn how to take notes. You need to learn how to create a better memory. You need how to organize stuff better. There's a lot of things that may go along with those skills that will help you do that even better. And that's one of the things that here at Vicodin University, we're going to hopefully help train you in some of those areas that really help you take that knowledge and work with it better. Okay. Now, step number 2. Okay, that's where the advertisers say, okay, I can get you to inhale, burning smoke that stinks, or do anything, shall we say, that you think you hate or don't like or your body doesn't like, and I can get you to do it by making you start seeing it as something that is wonderful, pleasurable, rewarding. Okay. Fitting into those tight jeans, wearing those high heels that give you a backache. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of them, right? Where, who knows what they are, drink till you're drunk or whatever. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But it's like, it's like, if you look at your goals and dreams, there's things that you can't do right now. And it doesn't mean you can't do them. In fact, maybe like a dieter, you can force yourself to do them for a while, but you can't really get yourself to do it and hold on to it and maintain it. Remember, we got two parts of our brain, shall we say. We have that sort of, that thinking cortex up there that sort of thinks that's who we are. But really who we are is we're that subconscious who does things over and over again. We are what we repeatedly do. Okay? And the purpose of that cortex is to help us, is to guide and help develop that automatic that just does it over and over again. That's where it triggers the feeling, triggers this and triggers that, and it's like the strategizing and figuring things out. That's where its role is. Its role is to help us become that better person, and that's where we want to use it. We don't want to think that's who we are, because by forcing ourselves consciously to do stuff, we're in trouble. Okay, I mean, in any aspect of life, you are what you repeatedly do, and you repeatedly do what is automatic and natural for you. And that's when we love it the most, when we say, oh man, I don't have to think, I don't have to do anything, I just get to be who I am and be great. Now, wouldn't that be good? See, that's where we're looking for. We're trying to develop that person, the great person that you are, to become just naturally who you are, and somebody you go, wow, I'm so happy that I developed myself into becoming that. Okay, so we got to start developing those pictures in our mind. We have to start seeing, somebody says, oh, I hate running. Okay, you hate running. Gotcha. Okay, perfect. You'll never use running to get yourself in shape. But if an advertiser got a hold of it and got a hold of you, they'd have you running, and you'd be doing no running at all, all the time. In fact, some of the, shall we say, the tennis shoe people have sort of gotten people into running that probably never would have done it before, only because it's cool, only because it's sexy, and a lot of those other crazy things that drive us to do things. Now, remember, one of the things that, you've got to start understanding that you're important, and you are smart enough and responsible enough to take you to where you want to go. Okay? It's like, somebody saying, well, I like chocolate chip cookies. Well, who says you're important enough to decide what you like? See, most of society says you can't like this, you can't like that, you can like this, and this is important, this is not important. And they tell you what is and isn't. In fact, you read the news, you look at this, you try to figure out what you're supposed to like, what you're supposed to do, so you're cool, so you're part of society, so you aren't, shall we say, an outcast. But come on now. You've got your goals and dreams and values. You've had your experience. If you look at, if you could do, create the world to make it better, what would you do? How would you make it better? What would you, make happen? And that's what you want to be asking, is that how would you make it better? And that's something valuable to you. And now you're looking at what you can do. And now that aspect, is somebody over here is going, I want this to be valuable. It's a combination. You guys might work together. Who knows? Okay, but the key is you start get those pictures and start saying, I am important enough, and my goals and dreams are valuable enough that I can decide what I like and what I don't. If I want to like sit-ups, I will like sit-ups. And if I want to really think they're the neatest thing in the world, that's up to me. In fact, I'm going to sit there and go, oh man, these are good. These are better than chocolate chip cookies. I don't know. Or whatever. I don't know what your goals and dreams are. So you got to decide, is what it is. Okay? And there's going to be multiple steps. So you got to first do this, then you got to do this. It's like, it's like when I first started, coaching basketball with little kids. They could hardly dribble. Right, so I taught them to dribble, then fake, then a pass, and a do, and then the NBA is a long ways away. Okay, but it doesn't have to be so far away if you start training yourself to become that person that you want to be. See, it's when you force yourself to, I got to go out and practice, I got to go run, I got to do this, I got to do that. It's like when you sort of force yourself to have to, you really don't. You don't develop yourself. You're just forcing that machine like a dieter to do what it can't really do and will never want to do. And as soon as you let go of the force, it goes back and reverts back to the same old thing. What if it didn't revert back? What if you actually got it to like it? Man, I really like this. I like doing this. I like doing it. Wow, look how I can do this. And then all of a sudden you start developing skill after skill after skill. And just Golden Goose starts moving you forward faster and faster and faster. See, that starts with the pictures in your mind. Then you start playing around with it. In reality, the first thing you find is that that doesn't work. And the whole point is that just like the cigarette smoking, is that these guys coughed and gagged when they first smoked their first cigarette. Their body told them, this is wrong, you shouldn't be doing this. And they kept pushing that because they didn't even notice they were coughing and gagging. right? They just kept going. They kept going for that picture, going for that picture. So you have to develop the picture that's going to see you doing stuff. I mean, sure. I mean, the first time your body say, "Oh, shit, it's horrible. Oh, this is painful," and da 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 da, and you're going to start developing these pictures and pretty soon, there it is. Got it. Now next step. Now the next step. And you don't even notice the struggle. I mean, people outside are going to notice your struggle. Going to notice you going for it. Going to notice you, putting in the time. Going to notice you, going, wow, how do you do it? I mean, it is so hard, isn't it? I mean, isn't the struggle so horrendous? How could you put up with all that? You don't even know what's going on because you're going for it so much. Right? That's where that, go for it means, okay? Is you've got pictures so good that you've developed in your brain that what you're going for is like, yeah, that's what I want. And you don't even feel or see the struggle. I mean, now, as we develop this growth machine, one of the things that you're going to find out is you're not very good at it either. And you're going to feel the struggle to start with. And how do you ever get rid of the struggle? How do you ever get rid of it? Well, little by little, you're going to develop better and better pictures. You're going to figure out how to do that. So remember, as you develop this growth machine, the first time you try, you're going to be horrible at it. Okay? Right? You're not going to develop very good pictures. You're not going to I mean, they're going to be ugly. But as you develop more and more, pretty soon, you'll get better and better at developing the picture, developing those things, just like the advertisers got better and better at, and they made lots of money, and you'll make lots of progress in your accomplishments. Okay? Now play. I mean, to play around with it. Come on now, that's for kids, isn't it? I mean, I'm not a kid anymore. Play. I'm an adult. I'm mature. I know what I'm doing. Now, come on. See, the whole thing is that the idea that you're finished is like, no, you're not. You've got so much to accomplish. You got to play around with it. You got to goof around with it. You got to be willing to make mistakes. You got to be willing to laugh at yourself. Go, ooh, look at me do this. Right now, in that play, what happens too is you start identifying an identity. In that identity, you start. Like kids are going, oh, here I am an adult, here, look at me. So you start developing for that one moment the identity of who you want to become. So you set this objective, well, who do I want to be? Who's going to be this person that accomplish this goal? Well, there it is, right? And you aren't that person, obviously. All right, so now you start, well, there it is. This is what I have to accomplish. You start playing around with how could I do it, playing around with the pictures that you see yourself doing it, and you play around with it a little bit. Here I am. So one little attribute, one of the biggest, things that, they always, with kids is, they go, oh, look, I'm drunk. I'm an adult. It's like, come on, you're not an adult. Okay. But yeah, sometimes that's an aspect of adult. Okay. And people feel like, that they're totally adult. No, they're not. Okay. Or they're wearing shoes, or they're doing this, or they're doing that. See, the little aspects of it allow you to feel completely you are that person for that little instant. And for that little instant you are. Because that's what it is. Now, what we've been trained to do is like we have this limited self-image and perception of who we are, and we make a mistake. Oh, I'm so clumsy. You're clumsy once, and now you're so clumsy everywhere. No. You're just clumsy then. I was clumsy now, but I'm normally very coordinated and active. Oh, I always do this. I mean, you've got to keep focusing on where you're going. Catching yourself doing the things that are taking you to that new identity, that person you want to become. That's part of play. See, that's part of play is see, there it is. Yeah, I did that little bit. I do that little bit. Oh, hey. And there it is. And for that little second, you are. Okay? And then pretty soon you are more, and then you are more, and then pretty soon that's who you are. Okay? So, start understanding how play works. See, play isn't just going goofing around. No, it's taking you somewhere. It's taking you somewhere. So we got the pictures in our mind. That's where we're going. We play. We catch those pictures in our mind, and we see ourselves even there more and more, and it sort of cycles on itself. Then practice is when, and now, practice. When was the last... When was the last time you practiced something, right? Right? I mean, practices for, what is it, kids, the basketball team or football team or something like that. I mean, you don't practice for work or practice for a marriage or practice for working with your kids, do you? See, that's the key you want to realize, is that whatever you want developing, I don't know what it is. Practice is a real important part. I mean, there's this saying that says, life is a stage, And most of us find ourselves desperately unrehearsed. Desperately unrehearsed. We don't practice. And that's the key. We need to put practice back in our life. But again, socially, not a very, it's like, if you practice, people say, what's wrong with you? Why do you need to practice that? Are you something wrong with you? Is there nothing wrong with you? Practice is what people that are great do. You've got to start getting into that. That's who people develop themselves to the next level. The next level, they practice. They practice. They set time aside to practice. They go in places and practice. Okay, it develops strengths and attributes. So now when they come into the real situation, they're good. As opposed to they go, well, I should try that, shouldn't I? Aren't I supposed to do this? See all this supposed to, shoulds. It's like, if you practice it, you might have done better. Okay, and you can, and you always can. Okay, and then that last step, pushing yourself to that really, setting that high level of performance that you really want to. I want to perform, whatever this huge situation is, and set yourself up to at that point be able, because in that situation, it's got to be a stressful situation. Your conscious mind can't be there. It's got to be just who you are. Okay. In other words, the stress of the situation, the push of the situation has to be so great that only thing that can come out is who you are. And if you succeed, boom, you did it. If you didn't succeed, you could fail. Could you handle that? See, it's like, why would anybody want to put this into they could fail? To be embarrassed, to do whatever. It's like we got to take that next step to get to that level where it becomes us. It's just who we are and what we do. Why would anybody? So each one of these steps, okay, are things that society has sort of said, adults don't do these things. Okay, only people who want a golden goose, only people who want to grow and become all they can become, do these things. Why would you want to do it? I don't know. Take the machine you have, go for it. Okay? If you want to make it so it's just naturally it's going to happen for you, then you need to start developing this machine. And what we're going to encourage you to do is you take on some simple goals to start with and work on the machine to get it started. Take on a few little challenges here and there. But you need an objective, a clear objective. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and you got to go through the process of all those different steps. Okay? Doing a little research, getting the knowledge on what to do, getting those pictures and developing, seeing yourself doing them and really enjoying them internally, just like you like chocolate chip cookies, not like you're supposed to or pretend. No, actually enjoying them like you enjoy chocolate chip cookies or whatever you enjoy. Okay, and say, oh, I love these steps. Okay, right, and then going out and playing around, seeing how it worked for you, and find out that when it doesn't even work, you still keep going for that picture that you develop. You see, and start learning how powerful that picture is, because you really want it. Okay, and ignoring the struggle, ignoring this stuff like that. Why pay attention to it? Why? I mean, pay attention to where you're going, what you want out of life. What you want out of life is so, that's your value. That's where you want to play. Okay, and be responsible for it. Okay, and then practice. Put yourself into practice and practice those things. Then set it up so that you're looking to put yourself in a situation to really test. Did you make it or didn't you? And if you didn't, go back and work on it again. Hey, no big deal. Now, we're going to talk a lot of the different steps, because one of the things is the journey there. It's got to be exciting too. And if it isn't exciting, this isn't going to work. Okay? So we're going to talk about how to make that exciting as well. All right. So so why would you even want to do this? You got to get this really clear in your mind why you're going to go through this process, because I want you to set yourself up that it's going to be a process. You first got to learn how to get this to grow and develop yourself with some sort of easy goals to start with. But go with it. Play with it a little bit, get it working for yourself, take on a little higher challenges, because you're so focused right now on the way that you grow and develop yourself as force. Take the machine you have and force it to do something it wasn't meant to do. So instead of that, grow yourself and become the person for which you want to accomplish is just a natural outcome. You have the skills, you have the talents, you have everything, and it just naturally, it's what you do. And it just naturally goes, there it is. See, that's where we want to get you to. Okay, Pat Connor, Vicodin University, training humans to train themselves. All righty, hopefully you get a good why for yourself. All right, and good luck.